Before you make 1,000 New Year's resolution or buy a New Year, New Me journal for 2026, the one that we both know you might not even get to use up to the 12th of January, I have something important to tell you. 2026 is not going to be powered by pressure. It is not going to be powered by fear. Neither is it going to be powered by comparison. 2026 is going to be powered by godly confidence and a surrendered audacity. These are the two words that's been in my spirit, man, since I have been praying and trusting God for a clear vision for 2026. It's also okay if you don't feel confident right now. Don't worry. I believe that there's a reason why God brought this video to you. Let's dive right in. Happy New Year! I pray that 2026 starts off peacefully for you. Even though it's not perfect, it doesn't have to be perfect because God does not quite need perfection to step in. Okay? The confidence and audacity we're talking about is like the real one. It's not like the fake it till you make it kind of one. It's not like the Instagram or social media kind of confidence. No, it is the one that comes from knowing who walks with you. So the first thing you're going to do in 2026 is to let go of every pressure to have it all figured out. You know how every 31st of December we're like, oh, the new year is going to be my year for this, my year for that. And then we write a bunch of notes, lists, New Year's resolutions where we're like, oh, I'll wake up by 5 a.m. I'll pray for how many minutes, I'll do this, I'll study the word, I'll drink tea, coffee, or even juice, and then I'll journal my destiny away. While that is okay, we both know that that doesn't often last because sometime around, say, 7th of January, we'll often go back to God and we're like, Lord, I didn't do none of that. I've not been consistent with my prayer life. In 2026, my love, God is not expecting perfection. All that God is expecting from you is surrender. And by surrender, I mean surrender in every sense of the word. Scripture in Proverbs 3 talked about trusting the Lord with all of our hearts and He will make our path straight. I get the fact that often we are like, oh, life is not balanced, oh, life is crazy. Or even my last few videos, I talked about how crazy life can get and all of that, and we should never say never. I get all of that. But Scripture makes it clear that if we can learn to trust and surrender to God, there is a straightness that God can bring on our paths as believers. It didn't say trust in your planning, trust in your dreams, your goals, trust in your New Year's routine. It said trust in Him. So we're going to realize in 2026 and live up to this realization that it is totally and solely up to God to make our path straight and not for us to have it all figured out. However, it is in our path to totally and solely obey God's instruction. The next thing we're going to do as we step into 2026 is that we're going to walking spiritually prepared. For those of us who love to do our vision boards, our New Year resolutions, while all of those are not bad, please, before you sprint into the dreams and the goals, can you just take a minute and ask the Lord to lead you and ask Him not to let you run ahead of Him? I recently saw a video somewhere that touched me. It was about two persons, one representing God and the other representing us as humans. So let me call the one that represented us as humans Kelly. So Kelly and God, they were about to race. Let's call it life's race. And so they head on your mat. Are you ready? Get set, go. And Kelly takes off, only to get to a point and stops for a second, turns back, and figures out that she's running alone. No. While God, on the other hand, is running. However, God is running on a slow motion. And she eventually became frustrated. I mean, we're supposed to be running. Speed is expected. Let's run. But God was rather running on a slower motion. That got her frustrated, and eventually a couple of things came on her path and got her distracted. That video spoke volumes to me. But what stood out more for me is the fact that we need in 2026 to think towards alignment rather than speed. And what happens naturally when there's an alignment is that speed flows. I mean, you don't even have to worry your head about speed. I'll give you an example. An engine that is properly oiled and connected. See, you don't have to force it. You don't have to put in so much pressure. It would roll, grind, and move fast, even on its own. The book of Psalms 25:4-5 talked about God showing us His ways and guiding us in His truth. This year, we're going to pray before we panic. We're going to listen before we leap. And we're going to ask God for alignment instead of speed. And like I said, speed would naturally come when there is alignment. It's also a year where our no would get stronger, firmer, and our yes would be clearer, where our peace will not be negotiable. Identify the distractions we're not bringing into the year. In fact, the distractions that did not cross over into 2026 with us. Not that overthinking, not that people pleasing attitude, not even your self doubt, not what people think or would say about you, and definitely not your habit of taking yourself out of the doors that God by Himself has opened for you, probably because you feel, oh, I'm not up to it, I do not qualify, oh, I don't have what it takes. Ephesians 4:22 talked about putting off our old self and putting on our new self, created to be like God. It says that we have to put it off, meaning just like you remove your jacket, you remove your shoe, you decide what you're going to remove. Whatever form of distraction it could even be relationships. It could be literally anything. You would have to identify them and put them off. Okay? Make a list. What are things you're going to put off this year that distracted you from achieving your goals last year? Write them down and monitor the pattern. Whenever you see something like that stepping in again, put it off. Anything that steals your peace or even tries to dim your fire. This year, you're going to protect your spirit like it is something valuable, because I mean, it is. So another thing we're going to do in 2026 is to walk with godly confidence and a surrendered audacity. Now, you see all those big, impossible, mind-boggling and blowing dreams you've always had, especially the ones that glorify God, that has God at the center of them. Root them out. They are the ones we're going to achieve this year, or rather, they are the ones that God will use you to achieve this year. The ones that seem impossible, yes. So I love how Joshua 1:9 talks about how we should be strong and be courageous, because the Lord our God will be with us wherever we go, right? Realize that He did not say you feel ready, you feel strong, you feel courageous, you feel prepared. It just says be it. So be strong, be courageous. That made me realize that being courageous and being strong is not just a skill, it's not just a trait, a personality trait, rather it's a revelation. And mind you, when I say audacity, it means that strength, that thing in you to do big things, things that people on a normal day will be like, what's giving this one confidence? But then it is going to come from a place of surrender to God. You're audacious outside. People will think, oh, you're fearless and all of that. But you and God know that you're doing it in total surrender to Him and not to man. So the M here is you don't care what people say, but you care about what God says. You don't care what people think, but you care about what God thinks, and you're going to do it God's way. It is realizing that God is with me, God is for me, God equips me, God strengthens me, God goes before me, God goes with me. God supports me even when I'm in doubt, even when I don't believe I can do it, even when I have worries, even when I'm scared. Mind you, being courageous and being strong and having audacity does not mean, oh, your fears and your worries and your doubts are not there. It only means that you choose to trust God more than your fears, more than your doubts. Okay? The last thing you're going to do in 2026 is to expect good things. This one is very important too. A lot of us has gone through so many heartbreaks, disappointments, failures, near success syndrome, so much that somewhere in our hearts we do not believe that we are deserving of good things. So we enter expecting same old. We enter expecting disappointments, struggle. But Psalm 65 talked about how the Lord crowns the year with goodness. That means you can expect God's guidance, His provision, His favor, and His restoration, including surprises too. Those ones you see on social media, those ones you watch in Nollywood movies that you're like, this is impossible. Expect them. In fact, write them down. You see all those big things you wish. Oh, those your wishes. Turn them into prayers. Write them down, paste them on your walls, look at them every morning. You can even decide to, affirm them, talk about them. There's power in the words that we speak, right? Wake up expecting good news in 2026. Expect open doors, expect new strength, new opportunities. And these are things that only God can do. That is why I talked about godly confidence and a surrendered audacity. Just know that, all these things you're doing, it is backed by God, the trust you have in God, backed by the fact that you know that, okay, God is for me this year and He's not going to let me fail. This year is not about pressure, it's about presence, God's presence in the midst of any and everything you're doing. It's not about comparison, it's about calling. What has God called you to do? You're going to do it, and you're not going to mind who else, and whatever anybody thinks. It's also not about fear, but it's about faith. Faith in God, who God is, and what He can do. That's it for 2026. If this blessed you or made you think differently, if this gave you some sort of clarity, go ahead and like this video, comment, share, subscribe to our channel if you have not. I'll see you again. Bye. Happy New Year, family. I trust that the Lord will steer the ship of your life in 2026. Bye. Peace.